Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode one of of our podcast with the new mentality here at Luminous. Uh, I am Nick, and I am accompanied by my host.
Hi, I'm Bella.
Yeah, hey, cool. So, hi, episode one, as we said. And today we are talking about how to cope with COVID. So, COVID-19 has existed in our lives now since it's been a long minute. Like
Yeah, quite 100 years almost.
yeah, 100 years, 15, 14 months. But time has definitely slowed down with COVID.
Yeah,
But yeah, it is here, and it is probably going to be here for a few more months, at least here in Canada. But
yeah,
through that time, it's definitely been a very hard time. A pandemic is usually like a once in a lifetime experience.
I
So
hope so.
yeah, well, history says so, but
Yeah,
let's hope. Let's definitely hope. Um, but yeah, we're talking about how to cope because this has definitely been a very difficult time for all of us. Um, but with a few coping skills, you can make that very difficult time a little less difficult, and that can always be great.
yeah. One of the best coping skills for coping with COVID is radical acceptance because there's nothing we can do to change the situation. We're not the government, and the government can't even really fully change the situation. So it's better to just accept it rather than trying to fight it and change it because then you'll be filling your days with anger and bad emotions, and there's something that you can't control, like because COVID is just inevitably gonna be around. So you just have to accept it. And radical acceptance is an ongoing process because it's super hard to accept something that we dislike. So we have to keep going. And then, like, when bad thoughts come in about COVID and how we just want it to be over, just accept that it's here for a few more months and just keep doing that.
Yeah, I completely second what Bella said. It was wonderfully put. I might just add one more point about how like that acceptance is super hard, especially like to fathom the idea. Like if you said in 2019 something like this would exist, we would all laugh. We'd be like, oh my
Yeah,
gosh, this is like such a huge joke. But now to live through this for 15 months and counting, it's not really a joke anymore. But
yeah,
just to be able to accept that is like amazing in itself. So if you're at that
yeah,
stage or wanting to get at that stage, like huge props to you. That's amazing.
yeah. Don't worry about it if you can't accept it yet, because it is something that's extremely hard to accept. So
Yes,
just take time for yourself.
definitely. And with taking time for yourself, we also have some ways to de-stress when you have that time. So it's important to like recognize that like during these times, it has been very boring. Um, so
Very,
it's extremely boring. So it's very good to like fill up your time with new things or things you haven't really gone to in a while. Like I know for myself during COVID, I mean, at least prior to COVID, I didn't have the most time to play video games or to watch movies and like consume
yeah,
media.
I agree with that.
So that has been one nice thing from all the all the bad stuff aside,
Yeah,
that free time has been nice to be able to do that. Now it hasn't really been free time, because we are living in a pandemic. So it is also good to recognize that it's okay if like you don't have to be productive with this time. This
yeah,
this is not
don't,
a this is not like
yeah,
a great time for most folks. You don't have
very
to.
true.
Yeah, I like look on social media and I see like, oh, during this we have all this free time. I started a business, blah blah blah, and it's like it's targeted at youth and it's like very negative.
Yeah, don't
Now,
feel guilty.
exactly. Exactly. Now, we all should try and better ourselves in whatever ways we can. I do. I'm a strong believer in that. But we
Yeah,
should also recognize where we're at with the
yeah,
situation we're in, how big that is.
yeah.
And just,
Sometimes, yeah,
oh,
just getting through the day is enough,
yeah,
and
getting
you
through.
don't have to do other things because you're just pushing through the day by day.
I 100% getting through the days. Yeah, that's a huge accomplishment in its own.
Yeah, just like baby steps too, like getting out of bed, getting dressed, or like going downstairs, maybe taking a small walk. If you can do any like tiny thing just to like stimulate your brain, then that's good enough.
1,000%. Like even brushing your teeth can be like a huge accomplishment in the day. Just recognize all those small victories, making your bed, getting out of it. Those are amazing
Yeah,
things. And to be able to do that in a time like this is even more amazing.
yeah, that's very true. Some other different activities though, if you wanted to, that could be helpful during this time are meditation. You can look up 10 to 15-minute meditation videos on YouTube. And Lisa recommends meditating in the morning to feel energized and relaxed.
Meditation is great. Deep breathing, also huge fan of. I know it doesn't work for everyone,
Yeah,
but if it does work for you, it can be like super duper effective.
that's true. Meditation also doesn't have to be just sitting there, with which for some people is good to just sit there and breathe. But for other people, they can do like coloring or like listening to music and just kind of being with yourself and not like thinking about the past or the future. Some other great things to like help during COVID are some people have difficulty sleeping because the days all kind of blend into one. So it might be hard to really tell when it's nighttime and daytime, or you just kind of, your sleep schedule could have been a bit messed up because of being on technology for so long. So sleep stories are great to fall asleep to. You could ask someone to read it to you, or you could go onto Apple or to like different audiobook stores that you could search up on the internet and find an audiobook to listen to fall asleep.
It is extremely relaxing. I've also found I like the when rain hits a car. There's like 10-hour videos on YouTube of
Oh yeah.
rain hitting car at night, and it just sounds great.
Yeah, you can also download Calm or Headspace. Those are good apps that have lots of meditation videos on them and like audios.
Ooh, I should try that out.
Yeah, Calm is definitely very good. Lots of hobbies are also good if you want to try them, like arts and crafts. I've actually started baking cookies, so that's fun. I prefer eating them to baking them, but baking is still good.
Yes.
Yeah. You could also work out or exercise. Not my favorite one, just particularly, but I do go on bike rides and go on walks, and I find those do refresh my mind. So you don't have to actually like go look up workout videos if you don't want to like go for a run, but something small like a 30-minute walk or like a 20-minute bike ride or an hour bike ride, whatever you want, can very much make you feel more energized and happier because it affects your mood.
I am a big advocate for bike riding. Super duper fun. And
Yeah.
also, depending on where you live, if you live in like Toronto, especially downtown, there's also a great bike share system so you can bike for really cheap for a year.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. But biking, super duper awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is very true.
And
I've also started writing more. I used to write before COVID, but now I've gotten back into it because I have more time on my hands. And I like to write like stories and other things about issues that are going on. You could also like journal or like write poems in like a book or on your computer, or just like list complaints about stuff, or and like rant and just like release all of those bottled up emotions, because it's better to release them and like vent than to just keep them in you, because that can lead to a lot of problems like later on.
especially in a time when we're already so isolated, you got to get those feelings out somehow. And writing can be so
Yeah,
effective.
I agree with that. The other thing that I've been doing a lot more of is like trying to give back. Like I started a fundraiser, which really helped me focus on something outside of myself and not feel so trapped in my own thoughts and stuff. I also have been trying to like send nice like texts to people and reach out so that they feel less alone and I feel better about myself. that's why doing something nice for someone is like a win-win situation, or for other people, because then you feel nice and they feel nice because you've done something nice. So it's very helpful.
It's a little boost of dopamine when you like receive a message from a friend you haven't heard from in a while. Is always
Yeah,
really
that's so
nice.
true.
And I don't know, like sometimes it's like just good to be the initiator because we're all going through a time right now and we're all feeling similar ways. I know.
Yeah,
I guess at least in the ways of like reaching out to people, at least for me it's a lot harder to reach out to
I
people
agree. Because I
that
feel like I'm like annoying them or they don't want to talk to me personally. So I'm like, oh, I shouldn't reach out to people. But then in reality, they aren't annoyed by me. They just are dealing with their own stuff. So they haven't reached out. So it's good to reach out when you can.
exactly. If you have that like space to do so and the capability and you feel like you're ready, then yeah, it's amazing to do.
Yeah. But don't feel guilty if you kind of just have to focus on yourself and put yourself first and put aside your social needs for later.
That 1,000%. That was so well said. Yeah.
Thank you. Uh, yeah. The other thing that we know can be very difficult during COVID is dealing with family because they can cause a lot of anger or like fights during this time because we're all stuck inside together. So, knowing when to take a break and spend time alone is very helpful because then you can kind of take a nice step back from the relationships in your household and just reflect and hopefully calm down if you're having a argument with someone.
Setting boundaries is super duper important. We're in COVID. A lot of us live in very small spaces, and even if you don't live in a small space, just sharing a space with someone, not really being able to leave. Like, yeah, we can go on walks, we can go on bike rides, but we're not able to get out of the house in the same way
Yeah.
that
A
we
lot
were able to like a year and a half ago. So just creating boundaries on that space is really, really good, both for you and everyone else you're sharing a space with.
That's very true. I know a lot of people could be feeling super trapped because we're already stuck in our houses, doing school in our houses, and that's super irritating. So now having to deal with like an annoying sibling or parent can be very hard. So boundaries are very important so they know when to leave you alone and when to try to like help you or like teach you something.
I I would say another thing that's been effective is like, yes, you are spending a lot more time with your family, but also making like intended times that where you're gonna be
Yeah,
like doing specific things. So, oh, on Wednesdays at 7, for example, having like a movie night or
yeah,
something like that, or a boards game night, getting away from like looking at a screen. Just
yeah,
something, just making time for spending time, if that makes
yeah.
sense.
It's much better when it's structured because then you're all kind of doing a certain activity and not focusing on maybe things that might annoy you or anger you with them. Like I have like a set time for when my family goes for a walk or we go for a bike ride. And then we also have a set time for watching this new show that we really like called Superstore. And it's helpful to just set that space because then you don't feel so trapped with them and you don't get angry because you're focusing on something fun that you're all doing together. Another thing that's super helpful is asking for what you need. Like, for example, if a parent's doing something that might bug you and they don't know it, then it's like they're not mind readers. So they don't know what they're doing that might annoy you. So maybe you could tell them, hey, mom, I really appreciate you checking up on me, but I just really need space right now because I'm kind of overwhelmed with stuff. And hopefully they'll take that into consideration and then try to give you some space as you need. The same with setting up boundaries, basically.
Yeah, we gotta ask for that help. It is hard to do sometimes, but it can be so beneficial.
Yeah,
Very
it's
worth it
also
usually.
yeah good if you're like struggling with your mental health because I do like go to my mom when I'm like feeling super down or if I'm feeling super bad about a certain situation, and then she kind of knows what's going on and she doesn't feel so like overwhelmed by me because she knows that she can trust me and that I'll come to her if something really bad were to happen to me or if I wanted to do something really bad. So that's good because some parents might have like a lack of trust if people like don't tell them anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that's super good to like tell yourself is that it's okay to not be okay because I know that like being happy is great, but sometimes you just have to sit with your like uncomfortable emotions and try to just feel them and like let them pass by because it's better to do that than like pushing them away because then they'll just bottle up and get bigger and bigger and then hit harder than they should have. So that's why it's better to like just feel them.
Yeah. It's really hard to accept that it's okay to not be okay, but when you do get to that point, it can be very liberating and
Yeah,
feels very
that's very
amazing.
true.
And yeah, like, we're going through a pandemic. This really is a once in a lifetime experience. It is not a fun time. It is not like a great time. And I don't
That's
think anyone
true.
is, and yeah, I don't think anyone's like coming out of it like happier. And
Yeah,
that's okay, you know?
yeah,
Uh,
that's very true. We may come out of it with a lot more coping strategies and like be able to now reflect on like how our life is going and be like, well, at least we're not in quarantine, but we'll definitely not come out of this happier.
yeah. And I like what
Yeah.
we'll be better equipped. It will equip us in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that's very true because our problems will definitely seem like a lot smaller,
Yeah.
not less valid because everything you feel is valid, but they might not feel as large because like if you fail the test, you might look back on this and realize, well, I've survived through this whole huge pandemic. I'm strong. And one test doesn't make me like not strong or like dumb because that's very not correct.
Yeah. So true. Yeah, most definitely I agree.
Yeah.
With that, Bella, any closing points
Uh,
you have?
I just say, closing it off, that it's great that you're making it through this not so great experience and that you don't need to do any of those activities because if they aren't beneficial to you, then that's okay. And if they are, but you just don't feel like doing them, that's okay because sometimes you just have to put one foot in front of the other and just keep pushing through the day and just like make it out the other side. And that's like an accomplishment enough. So you're doing great.
Damn, I don't even want to. That was beautiful. I don't want to say anything after that. Lastly, I'm
Thank
just,
you.
I, uh, I'm gonna plug one thing in as a very helpful resource. Luminous. It is a mental health agency for youth, and if you live in Toronto, I'm not sure Ontario, but I know for sure if you live in Toronto, you do have access to some of these resources. They have a walk-in therapy. They have walk-in therapy. Awesome. It's currently done over the phone. I have some own lived experience with it. I can say for myself, it has helped me a lot, but that is only me. But
Yeah, I agree with that though.
yeah, it is a cool resource, and the walk-in is available and it is free up until you're 26, I believe. So quite amazing and quite um
Yeah,
out of the ordinary for most mental health resources. And yeah, Luminous also has some other stuff. They have the Studio Drop-in, which is a virtual drop-in. Super duper cool. I've also had some experience there. Really enjoyed it.
same.
And they have a bunch of other stuff. We'll link it all in the description of this video. But we hope you folks enjoyed our podcast, whatever you're listening on. We hope you enjoyed, and thank you for listening.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah,
Hope you have a good day.
yes. Take care and stay safe. Bye.
Bye.